Why not me? You see, I grew up lower middle class, raised by a single mom, and she raised us really on a fixed income. She was on disability from probably the time I was like 6 or 7. And, lack of money and the stress that comes with that was really present on a daily basis in my life. And from a young kid, it planted the seed in my heart to just want to be wealthy. A lot of kids want to be a firefighter or a police officer, a teacher. I was like, I just want to be a millionaire. So when I grew up, I had in my mind that I was going to help my mom out a lot because she helped me. She provided the best she could. And I didn't want my family to experience the stress and the pain that I did from the experiences that I went through as a kid. So I grew up getting into real estate, started helping her financially. And my wife and I, Abby, we went back to Michigan in 2020 to have our first son, Brent, to be close to family. And my mom was sharing with me that she wanted to move. She wasn't happy with where she was. So I was like, Mom, I'm doing pretty good at EXP. Had been here a couple of years. And I said, I think I'm in a position to actually buy you a house and help you move. And she was surprised by that for sure. And she said, okay, let's do it. So we start making offers, and one gets accepted, and she's thrilled, but also really nervous, good things like this don't happen to me. It's not going to work out. So my wife hadn't seen it yet, so we scheduled a showing to show my wife, Abby, the house. And my mom's, it was so cute. She's so excited going around giving my wife the tour, and Abby's videotaping it to have that memory. And we still had inspections to go through, the appraisal for the mortgage. But what I hadn't told my mom is we already went through the inspections. There was no mortgage because I was paying cash from stock that I earned my first year selling houses at EXP. And we were set to close June 20th, but this was early June, so a little ahead of schedule, and she was still super nervous, and I'm like, I had to surprise her. So I go, Mom, I was like, I don't think we're going to be able to close June 20th. And I see the doubt, the fear, the discouragement rush to her face. And then I said, well, I'll just show you the video.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're lying. You are lying. No. Are you serious? Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Oh. Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, if the only thing I ever did at EXP was sell houses and earn free stock, a moment like that, I think you guys would agree, would be so worth it. However, we have this little thing called revenue share at EXP. Who came here to hear about rev share and actually make some rev share, make some more rev share? All right. So that's where the story starts to get really exciting. So out of necessity, like I said, I wanted to be a millionaire. I must have been weird at it as a kid because my mom was giving me money magazines in my stocking in junior high, how to start a lawn care business, vending machines. But one year in high school, she actually gave me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And yeah, great book. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. That book taught me just this idea, this crazy idea of residual income. And what residual income meant to me and what I developed to learn is this idea that I call true freedom, which is financial time, location freedom, and also what I've discovered the last couple years, you can have all three of those, but you may also not have mindset freedom. So that's a fourth freedom that I like to think about and talk about a lot now. So I got into real estate kind of by accident, actually, literally by accident. I was running a painting company at the time. We took a little vacation to visit my wife's parents' property in West Virginia, and I was just going way too fast on this four-wheeler, and I flipped over the handlebars, hit a rut. Four-wheeler landed on my leg. Thank God it wasn't my head, and I had some extra time, to say the least, laid up on the couch to read, just bored, and I've always been an avid reader since the day I got that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I went to this bookshelf that I had in my office. I can remember it perfectly. And a lot of the books there, I'll admit, I hadn't read yet. I'm the kind of person that buys a lot of books, doesn't read half of them, but I got a really nice library. So I don't know why, but this day I pulled off the shelf Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And what that book taught me is that it's not just being a real estate agent. We're truly all entrepreneurs. And in my heart, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I was like, you know what, real estate might be for me. So literally a couple months later, I was licensed, ready to rock and roll. And I'm like, man, I'm going to crush this thing. I'm going to sell 50 houses in my first year, rookie of the year. And then I'm 6 months in, sold one house, and I'm like, okay, I think I need some help. So it was around that time. I heard about this real estate conference, and I'm like, okay, I've always been growth minded. Let me check this conference out and see if I can get some help here. So I show up. I'm excited. I'm wearing this cheap suit that I probably got from my high school prom, and I'm just ready to rock. I'm sitting about halfway, really as close to the front as I could get on the cheap ticket that I bought. And I'm sitting there. I see everyone in front. The front row at conferences, I love, not only because you can learn more and really stay engaged, but the people up there are awesome. So I'm watching the people in the front, and they're like all talking to each other. They're dressed in nice clothes. They just look successful. They look like they belonged. And I was sitting there by myself, and I'm like, man, I just want to sit in the front one day and have that. And I also noticed that they had lanyards on that said one-on-one coaching. So I'm like, okay, people in the front, they paid a lot for the ticket. They got a coach apparently, not really quite sure what that is yet, but I think I should probably get one at some point, but I'm dead broke. So I'm sitting there and taking crazy notes, jam-packed, like some of you might be feeling a little tight in your seat right now. And I crossed my leg to take notes to get a little more comfortable, and I noticed there's a hole in my shoe. And I'm like 26 at the time. I'm like, what is going on? Live in the greatest country in the world. I'm a grown adult, and here I am with a hole in my shoe. The first thought I had was like, did that person next to me just see the hole in my shoe? Because that's embarrassing. And the second thought I had was just like, man, like, I'm an imposter. You know, like, what am I doing? I'm here in Las Vegas having a great time. My wife's home working as an ICU nurse, 14-hour shifts. That's hard work. People literally dying while she's working. And I'm over here not doing what I know I should already be doing, which is prospecting, lead generation. Some of you might know what you already should be doing for agent attraction, but just aren't yet. So I was like, enough's enough. I'm going to make this happen for me and my family. And what's cool is, like, in that moment, I felt this small, but I quickly changed it and decided and committed in my mind that I was going to do whatever it took to be successful. And you guys can make that decision today. So I went all in. That week, I hired a coach. Thank you, Capital One credit card, for that. I was all in, but like it's true. Like, when you actually invest money in yourself, like all of you guys did today, congratulations on that, getting here. You got skin in the game now. You're going to operate at a different level leaving here this week. And I'm so excited for you guys to do that. So I fly back to North Carolina, start selling. Happy to say, I only sold 6 houses in my first year still. I did get Rookie of the Year somehow. That's kind of funny. And but what was cool is my second year I sold 36 houses. And today, thank you. Today I stand before you in some brand new, crispy white Cole Haan shoes with no holes. So the point is, if things are going to change in your life, then you need to change. And I highly, highly urge you to just have the sense of urgency to figure out, like, what is stopping you from achieving your goals. Identify it and eliminate it, because there's something there that you need to find. So the secrets to success that I discovered that worked for me when selling real estate was, number one, hire a coach to hold you accountable and teach you how to follow a proven, repeatable process. Pretty simple. Number two, prospect for 2 to 3 hours a day, contacting over 100 sellers per week. My goal is to be a listing agent. Start a peer mastermind group to get added accountability and to practice your skills with. And little hint here, these secrets work for RevShare too, guys. That's what's beautiful. RevShare goes in alignment so well with selling homes. And what's even better is you probably only got to talk to like 5 to 10 people a week if you really want to build a big RevShare team. I was doing 100 a week calling expired listings. Now that's hard work. Talking to 5 to 10 agents a week, not so much. So I found myself stuck. I'm now running a team. It's 4 years later, and I'm just like, man, like I'm making good money now, selling almost 100 homes a year, going in more debt. You know, I'm still in the rat race. It was a little bit nicer rat race, but you know, not that much nicer. And I'm just like, what are my options here? And at the time I saw that I had 2 options. First option, build a bigger team, get more leverage. Number 2, start an independent brokerage. And it was at that time, my sponsor, Cliff, what's up, Cliff? Thank you. He shared EXP with me. And honestly, from the moment that video ended, I knew I was in. To me, it was an absolute no-brainer. So I joined the company and started I'm like, you know what, I'm just keep selling houses like I always did and build RevShare part-time, build my freedom wealth part-time in a handful of hours a week. That was my goal. So I'm still running the team, but I'm not sold out on RevShare yet. I'm still just really busy selling houses. I had, I think at the time, 3 or 4 agents, a couple assistants, and I'm not sold out on RevShare yet. So I'm driving, and I remember this day perfectly. It's a beautiful spring, summer day in North Carolina. Windows are down. I'm listening to a podcast. I love podcasts. And Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach is talking. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but the lesson I learned and what I heard was this. He said, when you start off as an entrepreneur, you're just trying to dig a hole. Us real estate agents, we're just trying to sell some houses, right? Just kind of figure things out. Then a good entrepreneur, they're like, how can I get more efficient at this? How can I dig this hole faster? And then a great entrepreneur, they're like, how can I build leverage? Maybe I should hire a team so I can dig a bigger hole, dig it faster. Maybe I just got to buy some new technology, whatever it is. And I was like, oh, that's really good. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. Then what he said stopped me in my tracks. He said, the enlightened entrepreneur steps back, looks at the hole that they're digging, and ponders, is this even the right hole? I was like, man, this is why I feel stuck. I'm digging the wrong hole. Revenue share for my dreams, desire for my true freedom is the right hole. So from that point forward, I started to take RevShare a lot more serious. I started to treat it like a business. So my 5-year plan was to sponsor 25 agents total, so 5 a year for 5 years. And based on what I saw with our comp plan and what others were doing, I was like, you know what? I think I can get them to 500 if I help them, and I think that 500 should produce about $25,000 a month in income. So that's what I went to work on. And the $25,000 wasn't just an arbitrary number. I had a dream lifestyle already in my mind that $25,000 was allocated for, and that's a key part to success, I believe, is you gotta have a dream, you gotta have a vision, and it's gotta be written down. So things started to go really well with RevShare. I'm happy to admit, this is a little video that we did about 5 years ago. Hey everybody, we just wanted to make this announcement. We are so excited. So today is a very important day for us because we hit a huge milestone in our business. We hit 500 agents in our EXP organization. And one of the reasons why this goal is so big for us is because this is a goal we set when we first joined the company just about 17 months ago. We thought, hey, if we can build our EXP organization to 500 real estate agents in 5 years, like that would just be mind-blowing, that would be perfect, that would create everything that we want in life. And so we set that goal, and now we've hit it in under a year and a half. So pretty cool. So it didn't take 5 years, it took 18 months. So we're pretty excited about that. And that month I said $24,490 exactly when we hit 500 agents that month in our RevShare group. So pretty exciting. That was our dream financial freedom number, and we hit it. And I want to share with you how I did it, and I'm going to keep it so simple. The first thing that you got to do is set your vision, and I do what I call vision sheets. They're laminated, 2-sided. One side is goals, missions, values, affirmations. The other side is what I want for my life, my vision board. And just out of curiosity, anyone here ever struggled to reach out to agents, or like you're a little afraid, fear of rejection? Show of hands. Who here might be a little nervous to reach out to agents? Okay, awesome. So I was there too. So early on, I wrote down this affirmation that says, to share who I am and what I have to offer proudly. Who I am is just my authentic self. What I have to offer is this EXP opportunity. And then I went on to say, for most it won't mean anything, but to some it will mean everything. For the person that hangs up on you, swears at you, that probably won't happen, but if it does, no big deal. They're going to forget about it within 5 minutes. The person that joins EXP, that makes enough rev share to pay for their living expenses, their mortgage, their car, maybe earns enough free stock to pay for their kids' college over the next 5 years. That is life-changing. They will remember you for the rest of their lives. Maybe even their grandchildren will be told stories about you. That's what we're talking about here. So maybe that helps. The other thing that I want to talk about a little bit is just like tactfully, like what do you need to do? So I keep things super simple. That's just how I think. I started reaching out to agents who were at my previous brokerage, agents I was in different coaching programs with, went to conferences with, that I networked with on Facebook. I did really well with that. And I talked to like 50 and 22 joined. And that turned into 500 agents. Like, absolutely amazing. But you got to get good. You got to practice your skills. You got to get better at conversion and all that. So what I want to share with you now is what my life looks like now. Because when I was little, all I had was a vision and a dream because my current reality wasn't the best. So I've always been a good dreamer. And my goal is to inspire you guys. Because a lot of times, people I meet, people I talk to, they stop dreaming when they're a kid. And then they grow up and the burdens of the world are so pressed onto their shoulders, they're just trying to get through it. So my goal is, like so many mentors inspired me with their stories, with their lifestyles. My goal is to show you mine, and maybe it'll inspire you. So 2 months after we hit our financial freedom number, we're like, hey, we accomplished a big goal, let's celebrate it. We traveled around the country for a year in our RV, traveling to all the national parks. On my vision board that I showed you already, on there was to spend 1 month snowboarding. We spent 3 that year in Breckenridge. It was awesome. Now we moved to Puerto Rico 4 years ago. We live in a beautiful community called Dorado Beach. And what's special to us is to be just surrounded by God's beauty on a daily basis because it inspires us. And just this feeling of gratefulness that I get when I'm in nature is just like none other. And this is a place that inspires me. Financial freedom is most important in my mind because it allows time freedom. My typical morning, I wake up, hang out with my family, my kids, have coffee. I might go to the beach to read, to reflect, maybe work on some goals. And now I do this thing that I recommend everyone does, no matter where you're at, is track your net worth, see where you're going. I have discovered it's much more fun to actually do when it's not negative. So that's one of the things that I like to do by the beach. And after that, I'll come home. We do a golf cart ride, usually 2 every single day as a family. Keeps our toddlers locked in one spot so my wife and I can just connect and talk. And we pass by amazing beachfront property, golf courses. There's a Ritz-Carlton in the community that the architecture is incredible. The homes are inspiring. We just love it. And that's what we get to do because of this opportunity. So I want you to just be thinking, like, what do you want? Like, what is your rich life? Like, that's the whole point, and my goal today is to inspire you to figure out what your rich life is, your ideal lifestyle, so that you have no other option than to take all action with a laser focus to achieve that goal. So write out your rich life on 1 page in vivid detail. If it gives you tears while you're writing it and reading it back, you did a good job. If it gives you goosebumps, you did okay. And then list out what it actually costs. It's probably a lot less than you think. When I do this exercise with people, it's usually less than $15,000 a month. Could be a lot of money for some of you, but if we're talking dream lifestyle, it's really not that much money. And then figure out how many agents you need in your rev share group to accomplish that. My number was 500. Now, I love this story, and I heard this story so many times from Ed Milet. And I know he shared it again at Shareholders, which was so incredible. But every time I hear it, I get goosebumps because he talks about being the one. And in my family, I'm the one. And that means a lot to me. He says, when you see a happy, wealthy family, it's not by accident. There may have been generations of brokenness, dysfunction, poverty in that family, maybe since the beginning of time, which is kind of crazy to think about. But one day, the one shows up, and that's me for my family. And I want to challenge you today. Are you going to be the one for your family? Maybe you already are, and I know a lot of you here today are the one in your family, which is amazing. But if you're not, make that change today. It's not too late. You owe it to your family to break those chains, to live the extraordinary life that you deserve. And that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you for your time.